Yeah, and immediately went green. Sometimes you just gotta turn it off, turn it back on, right? Yeah, right as I had six people in there too. It's okay. It's gonna happen every now and then. You're just gonna have to bear with me. You know what I mean? It's get it figured out. Share that link in the Discord. So that would be one of the unique parts of our Discord. If you do decide you want to become part of the community, is that when I have to restart, I'll just plug this in here. And had to restart due to what is it? Latency? Drop frames. Okay. Yeah, we're not frozen. Yeah. So here, listen to war while we fix ourselves. Okay. Fortunately, I think we handled it. Okay. Here's what I'll do. I'll share the show right away since we had to restart this morning. I'm sorry. I had just concluded my salutations where I was like saying, I hope you had a good night's rest and I hope you have a good day. Mm. For a word starts with T. Terrific, tremendous. Let's just go with terrific so that I don't ruin the whole show. Sitting here stoned trying to think of another good word. Terrific Thursday. Justice's Waiting Room. The daily podcast discussing news and politics. There's a, whoa. It's live on Twitch and YouTube. And then share the show. Good morning, everybody. Hashtag JWR. And every day, bright and early, free Palestine, Slava Ukraine. Happening. All right. So if you're on still Twitter or Facebook, uh, mm, Nice Daniel said something in the chat, but brother, ultimately this is a podcast and Twitch is the secondary feed. So appreciate you, fam. Think I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Ooh ooh, or whatever the kids say. Do we already share? Yeah, we already did that. Hopefully you've listened to War by the time I get my shit together. Somebody in this motherfucker. I gotta get out of the front page of Reddit. It is so bad. Alright. Alright. China has reportedly built its first EUV machine prototype, marking a semiconductor breakthrough the US has feared all along. China's semiconductor industry might have taken one of the most significant technological if the record. If you hear me reading this and you're like, why is he reading it like that? This is shit I've known all along. As report claims, the nation's built the first domestic EUV prototype. Reverse engineering and poaching talent, by the way. Reuters has disclosed that efforts over the years have paid off in China's favors as the report claims that the nation has developed an EUV lithography prototype, which is said to be fully operational and generate UV light intended for water etching. However, while the breakthrough seems optimistic, China still relies on old ASML parts, but the progress in such a short time span is said to be a shocker. While EUV lithography machines have several complexities within them, and we still don't know the technique employed by the Chinese engineers with their prototype, the report states that engineers have been relying on parts from older ASML machines, haven't taped out any new chips. EUV mainstream by 2030. And US is on the back foot. So and I know I just said a lot of words and used a lot of acronyms. Might have to do some Googling. Okay. EUV, or extreme ultraviolet, it's a type of light used to print the little patterns on circuits. Chip making, the stuff that makes your stuff work, the innards. They've had like a breakthrough, and obviously it's all very secretive, and it's not ready to market, and it'll take shit, who knows how long to get it commercial ready. But it is a significant advancement. Just interesting stuff. Um, you see, believe it or not, there are countries that it's really hard to be like, oh, that's our enemy, when it's like, they got a bunch of brilliant people and they'll reverse engineer shit and fucking poach your talent and they'll get it done, right? So you got to be able to do business with them people. It's wild, right? Hey. Western officials say Russia is trying to overwhelm Europe. Yeah. Gotta be working with them. British man set fire to a warehouse. Moldova men travel to Estonia, set fire to a supermarket and a Ukrainian restaurant. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's like a map. I mean, it's not cool. Um, so keep in mind, shock and awe, right? Like Donald Trump says a whole bunch of shit. Okay. Venezuela sends oil tankers under naval escort after Trump declares maritime blockade. So this is how wars start. Okay. I think I did. I think I said foot. The Estonian Prime Minister says Russian border guards crossed into Estonia with unclear motives. It's important to keep your eye what's going on in the world and have interests, right? I hope that you've picked up, in addition to like world news, that well, I'm a big flight fan. I care very much about space and am interested in war and war history. Here's the Times of Israel reporting that Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu planned that strike in Iran way ahead of time. Began planning for a potential strike on Iran's nuclear program after a meeting February 2025. Remember, the difference between now and back in the day is that back in the day you could get away with this shit. Today you can't get away with this shit. The media is everywhere. The internet is everywhere. There are cameras everywhere. And and if you're a piece of shit like Donald Trump, everyone behind him is a piece of shit that's willing to stab each other in the fucking back. Look at Susie Wiles. Look at one of the people closest to him and what they did. What they do? They shit all over Donald Trump. First chance they got. Vanity Fair. Just happened. Facts. The Polish Prime Minister tells your EU leaders it's either money today or blood tomorrow. And I think it's either way. It's money today and blood tomorrow. Get ready for war. What the fuck are we talking about? It's like the bat signal. Yeah. Putin calls European leaders piglets. And declares war goals will be met unconditionally. He's dying. So, war it is. And just to distract you just a little bit, the U.S. struck another boat in the Eastern Pacific and killed 4 people. War! We're gonna war! This is hilarious, by the way. It takes an act of Congress to get us into conflict. There's a reason that there's this big ass buildup in the Pacific and there ain't shit happening. Them boys are chilling. And girls. And they thems. People that are certainly discovering themselves. But remember that I told you, they ain't doing shit without an act of Congress. That's how wars start, is with an act of Congress. Not Donny Boy doesn't get to decide that. There's a reason I've sat here and said he's about to find out how weak and fucking powerless he is. You can't get in that chair and wriggle. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You ever remember being, well, I mean, I don't really remember this, but I'm sure when I was young, my parents would put me in a high chair and put a nice meal in front of me and be like, listen, you can't fuck this up. That's good shit. Eat that shit. Shut up. You know? Tomorrow we'll have fucking chicken nuggets and fucking corn and green beans and you can throw that shit. Right? But eat this. It's good. Or whatever. Donnie Boy's one of them kids that it didn't matter what you put in front of him. He fucked it up, threw it up all over the walls. Like we joke about ketchup on the walls. Oh, I just China had a major breakthrough in semiconductor production technology, and that was the first article we talked about. And I said, and of course, because of our relationship with China, we're on now on the back foot. And well, you appeared. So, Washington took notice. Zelensky, Kupiansk proved Russia is lying. Obviously, comms is part of war, right? Media is part of war. How war's perceived affects how your warfighters fight. Police have detained 7 men in Sydney, so this is Australia, over fear of a violent act being planned. So there you go. Shit's wild, right? Yeah, it wasn't even on purpose. Crush. The U.S. has announced a massive package of arms sales to Taiwan, valued at more than $10 billion, angering China. Do you see why I just said when they're making fucking breakthroughs in technology that are several, yeah, that are several iterations ahead of ours? And this shit, I don't know, man. Countries are free to do how they want to run their immigration. That's all I'll say. As Japan is tightening their residency rules. So, all right. You know the AFD, which is basically the AFP, the Nazi parties in the United States. A member of the far right AFD party has been charged with making a Nazi salute at Reichstag. Heel click and a Hitler salute. I don't know what the fuck would compel you to do that. Coercion, maybe? Julian Wiki. You remember Julian Assange from WikiLeaks? He's suing the Nobel panel over the Peace Prize to Machado. Assange argues that Machado's public support for U.S. President Donald Trump's military actions against Venezuela runs counter to the core principles of the Peace Prize. I mean, I guess he got to stick his neck out there every now and then, I guess. Money, money, right? Uh, the blockades threat that Donald Trump laid is air. It's air. That's a words of war. It doesn't mean anything though. You can't act on that. Nobody's loading up their missile launcher because Donald Trump said blockades. Like that's not how that works. He doesn't have that power. See, he's wriggling around in his chair, in his high chair. He's playing with his food. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a high chair. He's 3 inches off the ground, and he can still touch the ground. So everything he throws just splashes in his face and makes a fucking mess, right? But he has no power, really. He has no power. And he's finding out the hard way, and we are finding out the hard way. And it's hurting a lot of people. And it sucks. But it's air. Shock and awe. It's not about what happens when you say it. It's about or no, it's not about the results. It's about ooh, did it play well? Remember that's what Donald Trump was worried about in Pennsylvania when he ordered the hit on himself and the guy fucking missed, and so he had to fake it, which is what really happened. First thing he said when he hit the ground was, "How'd it play?" So I think I posted that the BBC. Yeah. Hey, and the thing about it is, we sat here up front in the beginning of this, and I'm having flashbacks. We read the rules. I read Project 2025, and I read the law, and I said he might make some wiggle room here and there. He might get a victory here and there, but by and large, this is a losing fight, and they are just cocksure. They thought they could hoodwink us all, and it's because Donald Trump does not understand the way the media works now. Everything is instant. KG. I don't know, we'll see. Putin says Russia will take more land. Yeah, we sat here and read the rules. I hate to be that guy. I am that person. To just why didn't the Democrats say anything? Oh, there's in several fucking documents they do not want to chill voters. So they are deathly a fucking afraid of people getting all the way to the polling site and deciding I'm not going to vote. So they are going to and it's in every bit of the law, the justice manual, the you know what I'm talking about? I mean, we have these documents fucking memorized. The reason they didn't do it, you don't say anything during. They change the rules. They change the rules, and what and ultimately will happen. And I don't remember the depth of the punishment, but I remember the punishment for speaking out. The minimum charge was 5 grand, and I said it costs so much money to run a fucking campaign. I'm not risking a 5,000. And I get it. People died. Oops, my bad. I'm not in politics. Hello. Um, I'm not risking a $5,000 fine and possibly getting. One of the punishments for breaking the rules was being disqualified from politics. And so you can imagine if you speak out and Donald Trump gets inaugurated and he's in power, and in that very beginning part, if a bunch of people are being super contentious, I know that you're like, Jared, hundreds of thousand people died. It's hindsight's 2020. You should have stood up then. Um, the party in power being able to disqualify people from politics by using the rules was the fear, right? The fear is that everybody knows the rules. That's the fear, right? And what we found out is not everyone knows the rules. Donald Trump, this regime, Stephen Miller, they're fucking inept. I just got to make sure we talk at length about the abject failure that is this regime, accomplishing absolute dick all. They said they were going to deport 14 million people. I mean, I get it, it's awful, but they're like under a quarter mil. They're fucking suck. They're having to pick people up at their fucking naturalization hearings. Do you know how fucking desperate you have to be to hit a quota? When DJT invades Venezuela tomorrow to cover up for the Epstein files, if any soldiers are hurt, remember they did that. Yeah, he doesn't have the congressional power to do that. So hopefully they won't be. Maybe he declares. Remember, shock and awe. So it's not about what actually happens. It's about the initial impact. He could declare war, but it isn't going to happen. And I think word's spreading pretty quick too. Voted for the Riley Act. Yeah, remember Zeke when we talked about like, oh, that's awesome for a regime that's hell bent on deporting 14 million people. Why are we voting for that, Democrats? And that was again the spark that lit the fire that fuels the flame that says Democrats and Republicans are basically the same thing to me. They're inept, equally inept. They're just different, you know? The Republicans are nasty and hateful, right? And the Democrats are like they're just normal. They're the ones saying like, "No, nah, that's just how they are," and you're like, "No, you're not doing anything to stop that behavior." And it's like, "No, nah, we don't really care." They're like our friends, but that's just it's all for show. Anyway, Poland got 212 South Korean K9 howitzers. That's a lot of fucking howitzers. What the fuck? Yeah, it's crazy. Called them little pigs, man. Brazil and Mexico told Donald Trump to chill out, man, over Venezuela. Yeah, I'm gonna Google it, and we're gonna see is this something that we need to be talking about right now when we're talking about world news? Is this something that happened, or is this something that Donald Trump talked about? Okay, can't do it. Won't happen. We're talking about world news. Thanks for interrupting my show, talking about something else that doesn't have to do with American politics. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about world news. World news. First 45 minutes of the show, please. And thank you. I'm like, is this something that happened? Is this thing that already happened? No. Dipshit ass Donald Trump said it on fucking TV last night. Who cares? Fuck. I'm not starting my show with that shit and starting my day with it. You guys, you gotta know, we've been doing this for over a fucking year, right? I'm not leading with him. Say it. We don't start this show talking about Donald Trump. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. The world is more important. Keep that attitude in your head. Just whatever the fuck happened last night, it can fucking wait until the second half of the show. I don't want to talk about it. He's not headlining my show. He's not on my mind first. We're not giving him that space. He can take a second seat. Okay? That's how I feel about that. I know you guys are raring to talk about shit going on here because there's a lot going on here, but it's important that you don't give that man that space. You're doing something that I fucking hate, and that's when a bad person is the centerpiece of your life. You have made that pig the fucking entree. And I can't get you off it. And I've sat here for a fucking year. And I've said, look around. Look at what's going on everywhere else. He's fucking dying. He is in the Epstein files. And he's floundering every fucking day. That's all that man does. Flounder. And I'm tired of people coming in here knowing, you know how I feel. And being like, oh my God, look. Nope, I ain't eating that pig. Not first. Nope, I ain't eating it first. I'm waiting. We're going to talk about a lot of other shit before I make that man the fucking centerpiece of my life. Do you understand? So think about that when we're sitting here, and just understand that, like, for the first 45 minutes of this show, I'm not saying his fucking name. I'm not talking about the address list. I'm not giving him headliner respect. I'll give it to Volodymyr Zelensky. I'll give it to the Polish Prime Minister, people that I see as effective leaders, but I'm not doing it. Not doing it for that man. And it's a matter of disrespect from me to him. So if you don't like that, hey, first 45 minutes of the show, zip it. But don't cram that man in my face first for off rip. Fuck him. Let's talk about anything else. There's a reason we talk about the world news first. It's because it's wildly important. Wildly important that we spend a considerable amount of our time, because it's smaller than you think. It affects us more than you think. What's going on in the world? It impacts us. And we fucking pretend it does not. And instead, what do? We're eating pig all day, just pig eaters. And I fucking hate this shit. Stop, please. Stop focusing on him. Please, he's killing you. I swear to God, stop eating it. Look around. Please. Please, the world is fucking on fire. Stop it. The second half, we can do it. The second half, we'll do it. Promise. I'm not leading with him. He's not doing shit. He's got 30,000 fucking troops right on the fucking border of fucking Venezuela. I'm not leading with him. I'm not giving him that space. Yeah, I won't do that. 45 billion for Ukraine. You see my motion. You see the exact way he fucking moves. He tell you exactly what I refuse to give that man an ounce of what he wants, because that's what he wants me to do. He wants me to spend the first half of the show talking about Don. So we're going to talk about how Ukrainian drones are striking oil tankers in Russia. Yeah. You want to go sit somewhere where somebody wants to eat pig? Go eat pig. But that motherfucker is floundering, and I'm not leading with that. Failure fails again with his mouth. Cool story, bro. Every day? Yeah, every day. So every day, the man at the highest elected office in the land says some fuck shit. Yeah. That largely is air. and every major news source on Earth leads with it. Yeah. So what do you do? We are talking about how global protests are demanding ends to the Russia's human safari. Okay, so thousands of people gathered across 6 continents. When was this? Last weekend? To protest Russia's deliberate drone attacks on civilians in Kherson, while American journalist Zarina Zabriskie presented her documentary and a new sanctions proposal to U.S. Lawmakers. Hey, that's awesome. This has Democrat and Republican co-sponsors. Kherson, Human Safari. It's wild. So, that's great. That's a great article. I like Euro Maiden, man. Their article layout, lots of pictures, nice easy scroll and read. Poland is going to start mass producing anti-personnel mines to lay on their border with Russia. Yeah. It's like I said, it's fucking bad. I was talking to Taylor about this, and she's like, I don't know what's worse. I think maybe we heard someone say it. Like, what's worse, being an American service member in the South, Southern Hemisphere right now, or being a Russian soldier? The difference is that they are sending wholly unprepared people to the front lines in Russia, and the U.S. is not in active combat, so they're not the same at all. And it will be important who stands down. And I can basically tell you, if I'm enlisted, I ain't doing shit, especially if it is not an act of Congress. Congress. Okay. Mm-mm. Yeah, we do the weather at the end. Yep. First 45 minutes, we're going to talk about drone production. Damn. Germany is big into this. Although I'm weird with Germany and Israel doing business. It's just like, ugh, it's gross. Arctic temperatures increasing. Yeah, yeah. This is far more important. Look at this shit. Arctic temperatures increasing at over double the global rate since '06, the NOAA reports. Oh, did that guy die? Oh, that sucks. Fuck him, traitor. And I want to point out, if you Google, are Russia and the United States allies? No. So I just want to point this out. It says Russian military doctrine declares America enemy. And the U.S. national security doctrine declares Russia an enemy. So I just want to make sure we understand. I just want to make sure everybody understands. Like, them ain't our people. The also whites. Okay. Oh, I just realized that. My dad went to Russia. Fucking crazy. How the fuck did you do that? What a dumbass. But yeah, climate change is about to be a motherfucker. Get away from the coasts. If you if you can see water, you need to get the fuck away from that. Realest words I ever said. So I'm guessing this guy's dying. From Le Monde, the AstraZeneca CEO Pascal Soriot, the pharmaceutical industry in Europe will be reduced to a shadow of itself within 15 years. And that's because I want everyone to have universal health care and those prescription drugs are all free. Why make medicine if you're gonna kill people to use it? You get what I'm saying? What does it matter if your medicine works or not if the person can't afford to live? Hell yeah. Use their own money against them. Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, tells the EU. That's so insane. Now I think about it, I can't believe you'd want to go to fucking Russia. That's insane. That's wild work. He's dying. He's dying. U.S. colleagues claim Putin is ready to end the war. The Ukrainian leader says Putin does not want to end the war despite what the U.S. is claiming. So understand, like, Russia is saying they don't want to end the war. Ukraine is saying Russia doesn't have any intention of ending the war. And the United States is like, Russia wants to end the war. Like, what the fuck? He called the rest of the EU piglets. Does that sound like somebody that's like done fighting? He's dying. He's dying this flippity floppity bullshitopoly. You're welcome. Ooh boy. Hey. This is from the European Parliament. We're all gonna die. Just letting you know. Part of the Rearm Europe plan. Gulp. Measures aim. This will be the last story we talk about, and then we'll talk about that man. Measures aim to strengthen Europe's defense technological and industrial base by channeling the EU funding to defense. The legislation adopted on Tuesday, already agreed with the Council, will allow more EU funding to be directed towards defense-related investment by amending the rules for existing EU programs such as the Strategic Technologies for Europe program, STEP, Horizon Europe, the Europe Defense Fund, the Digital Europe program, and the Connecting Europe facility. During the negotiations with the Council over the bill, Parliament widened the scope of the measures to include the objective of enhancing resilience in the face of ongoing hybrid attacks and foreign interference. MEPs also advanced for legislation to allow for more support for Ukraine's defense industry and secure the country's participation in the European Defense Fund. That's a story. That's a big story. That's like law. Let's talk about news and politics. This is interesting to me. The FAA lost hundreds of air traffic controller trainees during the government shutdown. So, yeah, here's your PBS article about the President of the United States promising $1,776. That sounds like a bribe. He does not have the authority to do that. And this is, and so do some math and just follow the money. Instead of thinking about, is it going to happen? It's like, probably not for everyone. Why? Well, 1.45 million, okay, times 1776 is, well, that's 2.6 billion dollars. And so you see that's a considerable amount of American money, right? So does Donald Trump have the power to move almost $3 billion? TikTok. Because I don't think he does. I think he might have that. He might have that money, and he might be able to get the information, and he might be able to send checks. But as far as the president of the United States getting $3 billion to troops in the next fucking week, no, he don't got that kind of power. And again, he's powerless, effectively. It's things he can't do. Yeah, yeah. You know what I heard someone smarter than me say? The way to deal with Trump is not to watch him, it's to read him. Read his transcripts. It doesn't make any sense. And once you read what he actually is saying, the words that are coming out of his mouth, he doesn't make any fucking sense. And that's part of why I refuse to lead with him. Is because most of what he says is nonsensical horseshit that's never going to happen. You know what's far more likely? That I build the American Socialist Party, even though I'm concerned. My wife says I'm a narcissist, and now I have to look this up. And I have to be less of that. Admiration of themselves. Oh, I don't admire myself. I think very little of myself. I hype up my accomplishments because I've actually done so little. I feel like I haven't really done anything since I came home from the Marine Corps. But work, which is like half your life, right? Anyway, Nick Reiner is appearing in court on charges of murdering his parents, and my question will always be, was he coerced into murdering his parents by Mossad? God damn it. So the Marshall Islands had this great idea to launch universal basic income, and they're going to give them $200 in cryptocurrency every quarter. I'm not saying you can't make money, okay? I'm just saying, God damn it. We are owed better. We're owed better. We need a tax scheme that you, and I hate to say it like that, but it is a scheme that takes money away from billionaires and corporations and gives it to the people, give them their money back effectively, um, give them value for their tax dollar. I'm a Magic player, and so we don't talk about Magic very often, but we're gonna right now. Okay, me over him. That's how I'll be a narcissist. Um, One of the things that you learn over time in Magic is the value of a card relative to its cost. in terms of how much mana it cost. Anyway, so we got to come up with a better scheme for how what we do with our taxes, and then we got to change the law to get we got to get rid of Citizens United. You got to expand the Supreme Court. You gotta make that job punishable by firing effective. You got to make it so you can investigate Supreme Court justices and charge them and remove them. And that sounds so silly, right? But even Donald Trump can't fire a Supreme Court justice. He just has to wait for him to decide to retire. And I get it. I get it. Lifetime assignments keeps a lot of fuckery from happening, but we're in fuckery, right? We're in fuckery. I'd argue being human and corruptible is why we're in this position. Is that almost every person will bend for $1. Almost. hmm Tricolor executives are charged with systematic fraud after subprime auto lender roiled the banking sector. The Americans who saw all this coming but were ignored and maligned. Hey, that feels like us. We know TikTok doesn't like us. That's for sure. They're calling us Cassandras. The Americans who saw all this coming. Call me them Cassandras, the people, mostly white and male, who smelled fascism all over Trump from Jump Street. They were alarmists. Mm-mm-mm. Better a Cassandra than a Karen, right? For the U.S.'s 250th birthday, Trump wants his own face on the 250th anniversary of this country coin instead of he's scrapping a recommendation from the Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee that would tell a story of America that doesn't stop at the American Revolution, but would also include abolition, women's suffrage, and the civil rights movement. And this regime rejected that. And Donald Trump wants his fucking face on the coin. That's a fucking narcissist. Just so everybody knows. Wants his own face on the coin. Oh. And they used a bunch of graphics on that weren't great and also probably aren't real. The New York Times has reposted the phone call with Donald Trump It's a 12.5 minute call where Donald Trump was telling elected officials in Georgia to come up with enough votes for him to win. After 30 years in uniform, a veteran in Nebraska who survived Don't Ask, Don't Tell is running for Congress. Kishla Askins. Kiss my Askins. All right, all right. 30 years. Retired U.S. Navy veteran, former senior Pentagon and Veteran Affairs officials. Ooh, 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 ooh. More than 30 years in uniform. That's a lot. First as an enlisted sailor. All right, all right. Then as a Navy corpsman and emergency medicine physician assistant. She's a PA. Deployed with the Marine Corps to combat zones. Hoorah. Yeah, sure. Good shit, kid. Good shit. I think she's a lesbian. Yeah, and that doesn't affect me at all. Yeah, still same. Still same. God, what is it? Is it? Do I have it too? Oh shit. Oh, I do have a little spot. Okay, okay, okay. No, just the way she smiles. I'm like, what is she? She looks like she has holding in a fart. I don't know. It's just kiss my askins. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Oh, here. Let me actually post the article. You know, I hate to say this. I just thought about this. I'm one of those people. I have a lot of conversations before they ever happen. So one of the reasons that like I never even thought about running for public office is because I'm a Marine Corps veteran, a Marine Corps infantry veteran. And you're going to run into like a lot of people that are veterans and they're going to want you to tell them about their your time in service. And like I said, fortunately for me, I have fond memories that go along with all the other shit, right? But my fear is like once I tell someone what happened and you see their mortified, horrified look on their face, like, oh my God, I should not have ever asked you. Oh yeah, you should have never asked me. You're gonna find out some shit. That you lose those people forever. They'll never fucking talk to you again because you make them feel like shit when they're like, oh, you know, don't dig. You're gonna find bodies, and it's my battle buddy. It's my best friend. It's unfortunate. It really is. Just concerned about how you'll be perceived. Just got it. I only got to serve for a couple years. I got medically separated against my will. I think it's because when I hurt my shoulder, I dislocated my first rib, and I'm a hard shake away from being in a wheelchair. And I think they knew that, and they were like, "Just get him the fuck out of here." On top of what else had already happened. Personally, that's what I think. But again, like that's how I feel. It's not because of RJ's death. They're covering that shit the fuck up. They medically separated me because I'm pretty sure I pushed the head of my humerus into my clavicle into my spine, albeit briefly, and they don't take much. That's what I think. I can be wrong. I'm allowed to just be wrong. I can also say I'm not sure why they fucking medically separated me, and it could be because they're hiding the fact that RJ Rady was murdered at a party with a bunch of people who could have also been on active duty at the time. So, Marine vet that just won for mayor in the town next door, Dem, won by 80 votes. Hmm. Maybe I should run for politics. Run for political office. It'd be a pay increase and it'd be something to do. I'm so god awful bored of my job. It's dead right now. The reason for the manic address when the cameras stop. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Susie Wiles made him do it. That shit last night. That shit last night. Susie Wiles put him up to it. She was hey, you know the y'all came in here this morning and you were like, "Oh my god, did you see Donald Trump said he's going to give soldiers $1,776 checks?" Burp. Susie Wiles did that to cover up for her comments to Vanity Fair. It's all a game. It's all a game. I think calling yourself a democratic socialist is wild work. I think what will be overshadowed is that yesterday they passed a $901 billion defense budget. It was the 65th year in a row. 65th year in a row the U.S. has passed. Congressional Democrats are at their lowest approval since 2009. They are feckless. They have no clear leadership. There's no clear Democratic leader. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to be the Democratic leader. They want to be a Democratic leader, but they want to pass that motherfucking buck. Nobody really wants it. It ain't Chuck Schumer. It's not Hakeem Jeffries. They're splintered. They're factioned. They're ripe for just getting out messaged. The American Socialist Party calls for all socialist movements to unite. First, we must all come under one organization, one political party. If you do not, that's fine. We're going to do it anyway. But I'm just saying we're calling for unity from all socialists all over the United States. Okay? I think we have a better logo, acronym, plan, a much more actionable plan than I've read at any of these other places. And there's a reason that I didn't join any of the other ones is because they're idiots. I don't I don't fuck with that. I just rather build my own shit and say this is how it should be run. And if other people agree, come on. And if you don't, you want to do your own dumbass shit where the people are going to wonder the Socialist Party for the USA, SPUSA, by the way, um, for the last 2 years, they've had online only annual meetups. So if you have any questions about why aren't you interested in the socialist movements otherwise in the United States? Because they're small. I want to build a movement that unites them all, and also plan to have the world's socialist party and have all the world socialist organizations part of the world socialist party. Oh, and then have like the Youth Socialist League. If we can have Turning Point USA going into high schools in the United States, we could have the Youth Socialist League, and I'm gonna win. You know how I'm gonna win? Because my idea for how does socialism work at like the high school level? It's like teaching athletes to support other athletes, teaching high school kids that uh, The fan is just as the fan, the journalist, the videographer, the photographer is just as important as the athlete, and that you should all support each other, right? And the way you can do that, and the way you can push socialism is just make sure kids understand what socialism is. Any pro equality movement, it's anything that like enriches all of our lives. So that gives us all a fair shot. You know, like Kamala Harris trying to give every first time home buyer a $25,000 first time home buyer credit. That's socialist as fuck. That is a movement toward universal housing. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's all them centrist Democrats, right? And I think another one of the more important things that happened yesterday is we kind of discovered that they're revolting against Mike Johnson. I did. I am trying to cut it off if I can see it. A lot of times I can't see the question mark, so you guys be careful clicking them fucking links. Fortunately, we're going to like CNN and Reuters and fucking The Hill and The Guardian and shit, but you know. And they're a political error. So I want to point this out. It's just weird that they've normalized Donald Trump lying and making promises he can't keep and calling them political errors. It's wild work. Uh, Dan Bongino is stepping down as the FBI deputy director. The president said he wants to go back to his show. Rather just be a podcaster. The UN has requested a UN Security Council meeting over ongoing aggression from the United States. He is a political, yeah. Ain't that the truth? PepsiCo and Walmart have been hit with a lawsuit over price fixing, says Reuters. Feels great. Feels great, man. When you see bad people being held accountable. Oh, yeah. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, we are headed to a recession and a financial crash, and I really wish people would stop using language that makes it seem like we're gonna not. Anything that doesn't extend those ACA subsidies triples people's healthcare costs and bankrupts hundreds of millions of people. Not hundreds of millions of people. 65 million people. Did you know the term bankruptcy was most Googled this past weekend? Did you know that? In the United States? Did you also know that Donald Trump has a wall of portraits in the United States, and he changed the nameplates and the description plate underneath the nameplates? Again, he's a fucking fourth grader, but this is what a man with all the time in the world can get done. He can get some fuck shit. Oh, here's an article about what's going on with Donald Trump's health. He's dying. He's a dead man walking. Don't martyr him. Truth Social is merging with a nuclear fusion company. Donald Trump is dying. Truth Social parent company, Trump Media and Technology Group, announced a deal on Thursday to merge with the nuclear fusion company Tay Technologies. I might want to get out and get back in. The House has passed a bill criminalizing gender affirming care for minors. Yeah, they can't spin disaster now. Prospect.org, another mass staffing purge at the VA. 37,000 positions are to be dropped. And what I've noticed about these cuts, you know what I've noticed about these cuts that these companies are making? They're not cutting entry level. They're not cutting the people they ain't paying shit. They're cutting seasoned employees. They're cutting people that are at the top of the pay scale, that have been there a long time, that know all the fucking rules. They're firing those people. They're firing all the subject matter experts and they're leaving behind all the junior everything. It's like they it's like pirates. It's like piracy. It's like they came in, they took all the money and the power and they dipped out at the last second, right before the biggest financial crash in U.S. history. Somebody said it will dwarf uh, whatever. What was it? '08? Fuck, I don't remember which one. Um, this is stupid. They're doing this because of Kristi Noem. The Coast Guard has removed its hate symbol designation despite assurances that it wouldn't, and so the Coast Guard's flip flopping. Okay. Yeah. My advice to anyone is don't discredit polls, especially not ones that are years ahead. AOC surged past JD Vance. Oh, I overslept too. I woke up at 6:10 and both of the dogs were touching me and I had no covers on and I snuggled up with the dogs and woke up like 50 minutes later. It was about a half hour later than I normally do. Um, People have been dying and are going to continue to die at ICE detention centers, and they're not receiving proper medical care. Yeah, they're just small. They're small and they're more corruptible. Republicans are being coached on how to respond to the Epstein files. The DOJ vowed to punish those who disrupt Trump's immigration crackdown, and dozens of cases have crumbled. So abject failure. He's not authoritarianing. He's not dictatoring very good. He sucks at this. Like this is not good. He's trying to use the DOJ as his weapon, but he's learning that's not how it works, Don. It just cost us lots of American dollars to find out, and lots of people are dying. Kamala Harris says Democrats are very much stuck in the past. I agree. I agree. The message has to change. If the Democratic Party is not on board with universal healthcare, education, income, and housing, pro equality, and pro union, as and syndicalist socialism, and being the path forward, it's because they're upholding capitalistic ideas and they want this shit to continue when I'm saying we need a more well regulated economy. We need our government to use our tax dollars better. Stop giving tax breaks to corporations and billionaires and start taking care of people. Mm-hmm. She did say she would stomp JD Vance. I want to make sure I say AOC, she did say she'd stomp him, right? Two women. Mark Kelly says military members have the power to resist what they know is wrong. There's a minimum age to serve. There needs to be a maximum age. I agree. The way the Donald Trump's attitude last night during that address, that bah humbug shit, is because it's tied to the polls. It's just like I said. He's Donald Trump desperately wants to be liked, and nothing that he does makes people like him, and it fucking infuriates him. Mhm. Prosecutors tried and failed to add a third felony charge against Letitia James and failed. Just want to make sure we point that out. The U.S. government admits liability in that deadly D.C. air collision. So that collision that happened a while ago, the helicopter crashing in, killing like 67 people. U.S. government admitted fault. U.S. House has passed the Republican health care bill without ACA subsidy renewal. So at this point, and again, I think they'll back out last second. An appeals court has ruled that the U.S. government can withhold funds from Planned Parenthood. Ilhan Omar is slamming DHS for accusing her of lying about apprehending her son. Hey, if I haven't said this already, it's time to get a dash cam. It's time to be a little more likely to start recording some shit. Um, Gosh. Being able to defend yourself is wildly important. Okay? Despise these corrupt courts backing down the Khan. Right. Oh, look. Hey, let's meet the man that pushed Donald Trump to go all in on oil. Here you go. You're about to meet him. Is it Mr. Global? No, it's Harold Hamm. Harold G. Hamm, the 13th child of American sharecroppers and the founder of an oil company, Continental Resources. Mr. Hamm is a wildcat, an oil prospector who drills wells in unproven areas, taking big bets that can turn into black gold or financial ruin. Deeply out of favor in Washington and on Wall Street, shunned for contributing to climate change and failing to deliver the results. A soft-spoken oil man with no college degree, and at one time a New York real estate developer, now playing a big role in American energy. Mr. Hamm is 80 years old, by the way. Yep. Oh, that was the Presidential Walk of Fame. Democratic and GOP lawmakers are uniting to force a vote on ACA subsidies. A reminder, Democrats did not get a legal guaranteed vote on ACA subsidies when they agreed to reopen the government. They knew that they could get a discharge petition. They could get enough Republicans to sign on to force that vote. So I want to remind everyone that everybody was shitting on the Democrats for their decision making when it comes to reopening the government. And it sure looks like to me they're going to vote to reopen, or going to vote to extend those subsidies, because they're going to get a discharge petition with enough signatures to go around Mike Johnson. Mm-hmm. Because they're dying, ladies. They've accomplished nothing of they didn't do anything good. They did the wrong thing their whole life. And instead of being held accountable and saying like I was wrong and I need to do something to like salt the earth or whatever, I don't fucking know. I'm not a piece of shit, so I don't have that fucking thought in my brain. When you didn't do anything good in your whole life, and all you have is money, you're gonna try to hang on to the only thing you got, money. Yeah, real fucking sad, man. Trump administration is going to dismantle the National Center for Atmospheric Research. Again, this is part of Donald Trump's attempt to not have to look at weather reports. Senators are demanding that Pam Bondi recuse herself from the Warner Brothers antitrust review. Conflict of interest. Here's the CNN article where they fact checked Donald Trump's address last night. As you can imagine, lie, lie, lie. Lie, lie, lie. You think if Donald Trump gets a check to everyone, to 1.45 million people, do you think he'll use AutoPen or no to sign them? You get what I'm saying? I bet it'd be a scam. That it's like a loan. That's what I'm guessing. Oh, here's the data. The data. Donald Trump said tariffs would reduce the trade deficit and bring back manufacturing. Well, here's what the math says. What do you think? It increased. Yeah. Labor decreased. Yep. Truth out. Talking about federal agencies may soon lose power to regulate independently at Trump's will. They're in the mail already. How do you do that without getting that cleared? Hegseth is overhauling the Chaplain Corps, targeting New Age concepts. This comes on the heel of somebody doing their master's thesis on chaplaincy and extremism in the military. For the record, I did not have shitty chaplain, so I had a good chaplain while I was on active duty. So look at this shit in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The U.S. is suing the U.S. Virgin Islands, its police department, and police commissioner Mario Brooks on Tuesday, accusing them of obstructing and systematically denying American citizens the right to possess and carry guns. Now, the U.S. Virgin Islands requires that applicants demonstrate good reason to fear death or great injury to his person or property, and to have two credible persons to vouch for their need of a firearm. Local law also requires that someone have good moral character in order to obtain a gun permit, which is valid for up to 3 years and applies to a single weapon. I like it. I like it. Jesus Christ. The American Academy of Pediatrics has lost HHS funding after criticizing RFK. That's too many acronyms. The Department of Health and Human Services has terminated 7 grants totaling millions of dollars to the American Academy of Pediatrics at the behest of the president, which I 100% do not believe will stick. Let's see. I think this was the other important story from yesterday. Donald Trump confirmed Jared Isaacman. Dope. Private astronaut. Who cares about kids anymore? Hey, play a little Eat the Rich and get out of here, okay? Oh, we had a restart. Yeah, we did do 90 minutes after the restart. A little bit of Eat the Rich. A little bit of weather. Okay. No surprises. Ooh, right off rip, Jared. It's gonna be a good day, Tater. There's a blizzard warning in Minnesota and North Dakota. Okay. Starting in the northwest part of the United States. Hey, there is still a lot of precipitation in the northwest. This appears abnormal. There are going to be 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts moving across Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri. Okay? And if you live in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, you're due precipitation. Okay? It appears like blizzards in the Dakotas and Minnesota, and then there is precipitation again from the southeast tip of Minnesota and the western part of Wisconsin down through the eastern half of, oh boy, that's Iowa, and that's Missouri, and that's into Arkansas. There's another storm from southern Indiana down through the center of Kentucky, center of Tennessee, into that is Alabama. A little bit in Mississippi, a little bit in Georgia, and then hey, there is a big spot of moisture in the Gulf, and that's almost assuredly going to hit most of Florida. Um, and then I would say if you live in the eastern part of the United States, you're due rain later today. Again, I'm not a weatherman. I don't know a fucking thing what I'm talking about, but I can look at a map. I know mostly what the states are, and can say, hey, if you live in the northwest part of the country, the north central part of the country, central part of the country, or the SEC. Heads up. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. As my wife says, whatever.